There are some things that can potentially keep you away from becoming fluent in a foreign language. And only if you learn to recognize them, you can eliminate them. So the purpose of this video is to help you realize what keeps you away from fluency. Many of the things that I'm gonna mention in today's video are the mistakes that I've made when I was trying to learn my second or third foreign language. So today's video is based on my experience and also on my research on this topic. This channel is all about language learning and self-development. So if you want to see my future videos, click the subscribe button. So with that being said, let's go! Mistake number 1. Not practicing your knowledge and giving up on grammar. If you don't practice your theoretical knowledge, you are less likely to use it in everyday situations, and you are also more likely to forget it. I feel like every language learner has to face this challenge, because we are very often exposed to a lot of theoretical conjugations and grammar structures that we have to learn by heart. And the real struggle actually begins when we want to use it in real life. Because then, even though we remember a rule or a structure, we are hardly able to formulate a correct sentence with it when it's needed. It just takes too much time for us, and it's quite annoying and frustrating. That's why some people claim that you should completely ignore grammar, and I think that this is another mistake. If you don't use any grammar in your sentences, it won't be possible to understand them and provide correct information. That's why we should still learn grammar. But we shouldn't learn it as it was a mysterious mathematical formula that no one can understand. So we should learn it with examples and practice it till the moment when we can use it automatically. What helped me a lot with my grammar was learning an example of a sentence instead of learning a structure. It's easier to remember a sentence, and when you have this sentence in your head, you can always change some words and create another sentence that you need in a specific situation. I think it's much more simple and ready to use. Another helpful exercise was creating my own sentences that are relevant to me and my life to practice a specific grammar rule. The good thing about it is that you will learn some of the sentences accidentally by heart, and they are ready to use in everyday life. I would like to ask you how you learn grammar, and if you have any tricks or methods in your mind, write me a comment. Mistake number 2. Being afraid of making mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes in language learning is actually being afraid of making mistakes. I know it sounds paradoxical, but let me explain it. When I was living in Germany, I had many friends who always spoke English in shops, restaurants, everywhere. And I knew that some of those people could use their basic German because they, for example, joined B1 course at the university. However, they always decided to stick to English. So once I asked some of them why they didn't use German even though they could. And their answer was that they didn't want to speak broken German and they wanted to learn it better so they could speak it without any mistakes. This is actually a very common problem. Many people postpone speaking a foreign language, especially to native speakers, because they are afraid of their judgment and they don't feel confident enough. But what they want to do is that they want to learn this language perfectly without really practicing it. And the problem with it is that you will never learn it without really practicing it. And at the beginning, you will always speak broken English, broken German, or broken Spanish. And in my opinion, this is the only way to learn, because you cannot learn to speak a foreign language if you don't start speaking. I think that people should realize that this is already quite an achievement, that you can say anything in a foreign language, even though you are not able to formulate a more advanced sentence or that you make mistakes. Speaking a foreign language is something that you had to work for, so be proud of yourself and use every single opportunity to practice it. In many cases, we are the people who judge ourselves the most, because 90% of other people don't pay that much attention to us. And I'm sure that many native speakers will be happy to hear a foreigner who speaks or try to speak their native language, and most likely they will be helpful and understanding. So if you just know how to say good morning in a foreign language and nothing more, like Guten Morgen, say it. Maybe another day you will learn how to ask a question, and then you can say something more. For example, Guten Morgen, wie viel kostet das? Or Guten Morgen, wie lange soll ich auf meinen Kaffee warten? This is the way to learn more and more. And it doesn't matter if you live abroad or not, because at home you can recreate this process as well. Just don't lose this opportunity to learn and progress. Build a habit of always trying to say something in a foreign language whenever you have an opportunity to do it. Mistake number 3. Not listening to a foreign language because you don't understand it. This is another paradox, because you don't understand foreign language because you are not used to listening to it. When I started listening to English audiobooks and YouTube videos, I couldn't understand much, and I was kinda burned out for a bit, because I thought that all my efforts didn't matter. I wasn't able to understand much for a long time, but I didn't give up. I continued listening to English simply because it was quite easy for me. It doesn't require that much effort to find an audiobook and play it. And the surprising thing was that after some time I could understand more and more because I became better at listening. And my general improvement in English was huge thanks to this simple habit of listening to a foreign language even though I couldn't understand it. So my advice is to basically ignore all your doubts and focus on the process. Listen to a foreign language even though you don't understand, because thanks that, one day you will. In this way, you expose yourself to the language. You can accidentally remember some new words, and you are also getting used to a different accent. Plus, you also learn how to pronounce words. Mistake number 4. Not having fun and being too strict. At school, we are obligated to learn a foreign language, and I'm not saying that this is a bad idea, because maybe many people would never start learning any foreign language if it didn't happen at school. But because of the fact that we are forced to learn it, many people don't see language learning as a fun experience anymore. The school system is pretty strict when it comes to studying grammar and learning list of words by heart. That's why it's a bit hard to enjoy it, and it was also tough for me. But I've changed my mind, and for me, right now, I see language learning more like an adventure than a duty. And that's why my learning process is more exciting. Learning another foreign language is like discovering a new world. And that keeps me motivated to study even more. When your perception changes, it changes everything. Mistake number 5. Being inconsistent. Being inconsistent and not making time for language learning is a huge mistake. If you don't repeat things that you've learned, you are more likely to forget them, and that's why your progress is much slower. I know what it's like to have many things going on, and it's just hard to make time for language learning. But eventually, thanks to the strategies that I share in the video that is visible on the screen right now, I managed to make it work. So thank you for watching this video, and see you there.